Carrington coming in from Florida here. Today with LifePath Unlimited. Today I'm talking about personal development and LifePath, and I was very fascinated. I read this book here, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by Robert T. Kiyosaki, and I was in for I was very surprised by the book. I read it, man, in 2 days really, because I could not put the book down. And the reason I couldn't put it down because it just changed my mindset even more. So, personal development is very important. It's not until you read and you listen to the tapes and you really internalize what you're hearing and you take it in and you really have to accept it. And what he was talking about, really and truly, is not his rich dad versus his poor dad, but the fact remains was, he learned a lot from both. And the main thing I got out of this book was the fact that if I had read this book about 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't have got my master's degree and got my MBA, because just like this book said, I felt I'd get a master's, I'll make more money, put me in a better position to get a better job, from what I had, from when I had my bachelor's. So again, I'm saying to myself, if I had even seen this book 4 or 5 years ago, I never would have got my master's. So it's all about timing. Timing is the key right there. Again, someone might present an idea to you, present a concept to you, like LifePath Unlimited, and you might not be willing to accept it at the time, but you know what? It's all about timing. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I might not have even looked at, changing my profession or anything like that. At that time, I was looking for a better way to take care of my family, take care of my 2 sons, and so that came to me. It was presented to me. So I felt the best thing for me to do was to go to school, go back to school, get a master's, and I have been looking at it, and I even been thinking about getting a PhD in a couple of years. But when I look at it, I'm like, network marketing, LifePath Unlimited, if I do get a PhD, it'd be because I want to further my education just to have it, but it won't be because I have to, because with LifePath Unlimited, that's taking care of all I need. And as far as income-wise, so I'm not going to have to go back to school because I want to increase my income anymore. It'll be because that's something I choose to do. And that's the one thing, the main thing I got out of this book was the fact that definitely nothing wrong with education. I don't have a problem with that, and he doesn't have a problem with that either. He just thinks that we have to change our mindset as far as furthering our education and making sure, we're trying to make money as opposed to being employees. And that's the mentality, be a business owner. You got to be on the right side of the quadrant. And that's where, that's why I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I'm in LifePath Unlimited. That's why I do what I do every day. And it's all about changing your mindset. And like I said, this book, I could not put this book down, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I really, truly wish I saw it, read that book maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But again, it's all about timing. I can talk about LifePath Unlimited until I'm blue in the face, but until you're ready to make the transition, like I am, and I was, when I did, you're not going to do that. It's because of the fact that it's all on you. It's what's going on in your life. Me, I'm tired of being in the rat race. Okay? That's why I made, the choices I'm making and why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's because, you work, like myself, I was working 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., 9:30, 10 o'clock sometimes, get home, have to be back work again at 8 a.m., because again, that's what was required of me. The only salary person in the whole place. So any kind of feedback, any kind of thing going on, I am the one that have to back it up. If someone was late, I gotta cover it, and that's the difference there, is because so that 8 to 9, 8 to 9:30, that can wear on you. And when you have 2 sons, you can't go to their basketball games, their football games, and it's like we were having a discussion this week on our Fresh Start call, and they mentioned the fact that one of the mentors was talking about the fact that he felt like he had to go and almost beg his boss to be a father, a parent, so he could go see his daughter, go to one of his daughter's events. That's how I felt, because I used to have to make changes, especially when I was in the restaurant business. I used to have to try to make sure I get somebody to work for me Saturday, and Saturday in the restaurant business, no manager really want to work. If he's off Saturday, he don't want to be there on Saturday. So I had to go in one time I had to go in at 6 o'clock in the morning, get the breakfast, take care of breakfast, and then I was able to leave like 10 o'clock, and I drove all the way from Colonial, I don't know if you know anything about Florida, but Orlando, all the way down to Lakeland, just to see my sons play a football game. And again, I had to beg, borrow, steal, negotiated that just to get that one day so I could see my sons in activity. So again, I understand what my mentor was talking about in the Fresh Start call, because of the fact that I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get that day and take care of, being a parent. I had to beg to be a parent, and then they try to make you feel guilty. But again, getting off on a little tangent here, because again, this book here really transformed me and let me know that you don't have to accept what's going on. You can change everything around you. It takes focus. It's not going to be easy, but with the right training, the proper vehicle, the right system in place, you can make the change just like I did. Again, visit my website, SherlinCarrington.com, and take a look at LifePath Unlimited. You can't go wrong. It's a beautiful company, beautiful people, beautiful system. This is Sherlin saying bye from Florida.